Hi, in this video, we shall be learning about data query language. In the last class, we learned about data definition language, which are create table, alter table, and drop table. In this particular video, we shall be learning about data query language, and mostly we will be talking about the select query. So this is where your journey in the field of data analysis begins. So let's try to understand what is a DQL statement, and then practically we will see how to deal with it. So DQL statements are used for performing queries on the data within schema objects. The purpose of the DQL command is to get some schema relation based on the query passed to it. So as I already told you, data query language. How to query? You can simply use a keyword called as select. Based on that, you can query it. So this is a sample table. First, last, ID, age, city, state. So we will be creating this particular table and then inserting the data into this table. And then we will try to use select statements to fetch the data, to use the DQL statements, right? So how to create this table? You can pause this video and formulate the create statement, and then I will show you how to create the create statement for this table. So table is simple. Create table, table name, first, last, ID, age, city, state. Your first, last, and city, state are going to be your variable character, varchar. ID and age could be your integer values, right? Similarly, I have already created this particular query. So create table, table name. There was a small mistake done here. The table name mentioned here is EMP info, but I have given underscore, which is okay. Acceptable mistake. Here I have my first name, last name, ID, age, city, state. We haven't mentioned that ID is unique, but I have just randomly given ID as not null and defined it as a primary key. So I have already run this table. So let me just drop it and run it in front of you. So let's create this table using this query. Done. The table is created. Now, if you want to show the tables, this is how my table looks like. Select star from ENP info, employee info, table is empty, right? As simple as that. Now, I already have written down the insert queries. In the next class, which is about data manipulation language, I will be explaining about the insert queries in depth. But just if you want to have an idea on how to create an insert query, it's super simple. Insert into table name, values, in your parenthesis, you have to pass your values, right? Let's say, as we have defined my ID as not null, if I pass here as null, will it work? Of course, it will not work because it's a not null column and it's a primary key. So it cannot be null, right? So that is the reason it has to be a number. So I have already created this queries, insert into table name, values, all the values, my first name, last name, ID, age, city, state, all these things. Let me run this and boom, my table is created and my data is populated. How to see the data? To see the data, that means to query the data, we have to use our DQL statement, which is select statement. So select star from table name. What do you mean by star? Star means everything. In terms of SQL, star means everything. Let's say you want to fetch the first name and last name from a particular table. You can simply do select first name, last name from table name. Run this, you will be able to get the list of first name and last name. If you want to have all the information, select star from table name. This will give you all the information about the table. Simple. All the information. Now, one more thing. Can we get the total count of this particular table? How many records do we have? if you remember Excel, if you might have already known about Excel, we know there is a keyword called as count. When it comes to Power BI, we have count rows, count, and count D, right? So count basically helps us in counting the data. So what you can do is you can either do count on the whole records, or you can do count on your primary key. Count on primary key. If you do that, it will tell you 11 records. Same goes with your count star also. Same thing. Okay, 11 records. Now, if you watch it out carefully, my output of the count of ID looks like this. My result grade looks like this. My column name says count ID. Does not look good. How can we change it? Can we give an alias name like AKA, also known as? Can we give that? Yes. If you know Python, I hope you know about this thing. When we import something, import pandas as PD. Why do we do that? That means we are assigning an alias for pandas, so that in future, whenever we are using pandas, we don't have to write pandas dot something, and so on. We just easily call PD dot something. That means that's my alias. That's my nick. That's my also known as, right? So here I will do as record count. That looks more readable. And then if I run this, record count, done. If you want to change it to spaces, you can do this as well. Okay, it's not allowed. Okay, that's not allowed. So you have to use underscore, right? Record count. And this is how things work. Similarly, let's say you want to do first name and last name, and again you want to change this to something else, as first name, as last name. You want to remove the underscore. Possible. You are also assigning some alias here, right? All these things are possible using your select queries. So this is all about your DQLs. Now we'll move ahead and learn about some other concepts inside your DQLs, like some filter queries. So enter the following sample select statements in the SQL interpreter form at the bottom of this page. Before you press submit, write down your expected results. Now these are some of the queries. So let's say you want to fetch the first name, last name, and city. How do we do that? Simply select first name, last name, city from table name. That will give me all the information about first name, last name, and city. Simple. Now, there is a concept of filtering, right? In terms of data, when we deal with data, there could be multiple scenarios. Let's say you are dealing with a huge table and you want to filter out records. Let's say you want to see the records where the gender is male or the gender is female, or else where the age is less than 50. Let's say you are dealing with a huge database and you want to see, okay, can we know the total amount of records for people who are having age more than 50? Possible. You just have to use a where clause. That's a filter query. So what is a filter query? Let's say I have my table like this, EMP info, and here I want to see all the employees whose age is greater than 30. So I can simply do where age greater than 30, simply, and then run it. It will return me all the patient, all the customers, all the employees whose age is greater than 30. Now, another thing, if you ask me, can we find people whose age is greater than 30 and less than 50? Possible. Greater than 30 and age less than 50. So everything is possible. Okay. And there is another keyword called as between. So we will be using that, but simply if you want to run it, it's going to be plain English. Use your logic, use your queries, simple. Let's say if somebody asks you, can we have the list of people whose name starts with A? So whose name starts with A? Okay, we don't have anybody with A. So let's take whose name starts with E. So what I will do is where first name, like I will give E and then I will do percent. That means I don't care about the next words, next letters, but the first letter has to be E. If you run this, we'll get these results. You can also run it using small, uh, using lowercase as well. It works the same way, right? This is also possible. Where customer whose name starts with J, name of the customer whose name ends with S. Select star from EMP info, where whose name ends with S. S. That means we don't care about the first few letters of the last name, but the last name has to be S. So these are all the names: Williams, Edwards, Johns, right? And this is how you can just practice around and play around with it. Now, there are multiple other keywords as well. There is a concept of in operator. Let me explain you that as well. So let's say if somebody asks you, can I get the list of people whose age is either 22 or 32? Whose age is either 22 or 32. If you want to try it out, pause the video, try it out by yourself, and then you can play the video. So how to get the list of people whose age is either 22 or 32? Simply where age is equals to 22 or age equals to 32. Simply this will work. But even another query, a simpler query will also work, where age in 20 to 32. If you pass this, it will work the same way. So in operator. Now if somebody asks you, people whose age is 22, 32, 42, 52, 62, 72 or 82. In that case, do we have to use age equals to 22 or 32 or 42? It will be like a huge query, right? So you can easily use age in 22, 32, 42, 52, 62, 72, 82. Simple. And then run this query and it will give you the results. This is how your select query works. This is how your DQL query works. Okay, moving on to the next topic, which is going to be, again, these are some same concepts. The like pattern matching operator can be used in the conditional selection of the where clause. Like is a very powerful operator that allows you to select only rows that are like what you specify. The percent sign can be used as a wildcard to match any possible character that might appear before or after the characters. Now, if somebody asks you, can we find the list of people? Let me just run the entire table. Can we find the list of people whose city has F in it? Or else whose state has F in it? F letter in it. It could be in the beginning, it could be in the end, we don't know. So where state like percentage F percentage. That means I don't care if it is having some letters before or after, but F should be there. Simply. Even if there is a state name called as Florida, just imagine there is a state name called as Florida. In that also, this particular query will satisfy. Let me take you an example. You want to list all the employees whose state has C in it. Okay, let's not talk about state. State has just limited values. Whose city has T in it. T in it. That means logically, if you think this should be coming and this should be coming, this will also qualify. Takshan will also be qualified because percentage is a wild card, right? So anything before, anything after, it could also mean there is nothing before it or nothing after it, right? So it only takes care that your city should have a letter called as T. That's it. It could start from beginning and in the middle somewhere like that. This is how powerful your like operator is. This SQL statement will match any first name that starts with ER. Strings must be in single quotes, or you can specify something like this. So exactly the same piece of work from where first name like ER. So let me run this. Erika and Eric, all these are qualified, right? This statement will match any last name that end in a S. We have already done that. And if you want to have a very clear, if you have a very clear understanding and clear requirement that I want to see the details for Mr. Erika, where first name equals to Erika, simple. You can use your equals to operator. That's it. If you have multiple people, then you can also add another phrase like ID equals to 32327. Let's say just imagine there are two Ericas. Either you can add a last name as a filter operation, last name equals to Williams. If that is also same, you can add ID equals to 32327. So this is how you can query your data. And this is all about querying. So select is basically studied under data query language. So I hope you understood everything about DDLs and DQLs so far. In the next class, we shall be talking about DMLs in depth. Thank you.